Hey, beautiful friends, it's Laurel Bleed and Maffei with Illuminating Souls. And I am making this video for you today about awakening as a healer. Well, I'm inspired to make this video based on actually a beautiful blog post that Danielle Laporte recently wrote about. It's called 12, what does she say? It says 12 Things I Know About Real Deal Healers. Great title, and of course I had to read it right away. And what she says in the first point, actually it's a fantastic article and I really recommend reading it. I love Danielle Laporte and all the work that she does. And the first point that she talks about is that their gift was divinely bestowed, which I believe is true. But she talks about some healers that she know. Kyle Gray, she says Kyle Gray, who started seeing angels when he was 4, and another healer who was visited by spirit when he was 6, and near-death experiences. And later in the paragraph, she says that and sometimes they're awakened. Learned skills can activate powerful capabilities, and that's the part that I want to talk about. I think sometimes people have this myth that awakening as a healer comes in this giant aha. Jesus shows up at the end of the bed, or you start hearing voices while you're riding in the car. And this happens for some people. But I think for most of us that are healers, it's a slow awakening. And the extraordinary experiences sometimes can only be seen as extraordinary when we're looking back. When I think about my awakening, I now could tell you about like 10 different experiences that I had in a short period of time, that when I recount them to you, they sound mystical, and you start thinking, God, if I had that experience, I would know I was a healer. And I'm here to tell you that when I was in the middle of these experiences, that wasn't what my awareness was. So often when we're in our spiritual awakening, we're going through pain and we're going through confusion. And I know for me, it felt like I was going around a blind curve and I was not happy in my life. And was I ever going to make it to the other side of whatever this was? So now that I'm doing this work full time, and now that I do angel readings and I talk to angels and I help people and I'm an inspiring messenger, now when I tell you my stories, you go, oh, well, she was chosen. Those gifts were divinely bestowed upon her for sure, but I don't know that could ever happen to me. And so I just really want to help dispel that myth for you. Sometimes extraordinary moments of awakening can only really be seen as such when you're much further away from the experience. I'm a great storyteller, so now when I tell you about all these amazing things that happened to me, and when I see where they've propelled me, they seem really amazing. They didn't necessarily seem amazing at the time. They seemed kind of scary. They seemed outside of my comfort zone. They seemed like maybe that would be the thing that would help clear the pain I was feeling. One of the experiences I had, so this is one of my amazing mystical experiences, but it didn't feel like it at the time. I had thrown my back out, and this is in 2000, where I had lots of interesting things that happened. And I was just so unhappy in my life. I had a good career, a great corporate job, friends, but just something was not working for me. And I was going to see this chiropractor who kind of felt like a guru to me. It felt like he knew things I didn't know, very mystical and awesome. And I was laying on his table, just sort of crying, laying on my stomach. I remember laying on my stomach at his table. And he says, well, you know why this is happening? And I said, I don't. He says, it's because you're not doing what you came here to do. And he said, do you know what you came here to do? And out of seemingly nowhere, I said, I'm a healer. And then I started sobbing. And he said, yes, you are. And I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what that would look like. I had no container for what that meant, that I was a healer. I mean, at the time, I was a marketing analyst in the entertainment industry. So now when I tell you that story, it sounds like, whoa, yes, and she came from her soul that she was a healer, and it did. But in that moment, I was confused. In that moment, I had no idea what it meant, and it just made me want to cry even more. Late, I don't know if it was the next week or whatever, I went back to him and I said, I have no idea what that means. What does that mean? And he said it just like this. He says, well, he says, you could go to the University of Santa Monica and get a master's degree in spiritual psychology. And as soon as he said it, it moved through me like truth. I say that now, again, in hindsight. And I said, okay. So University of Santa Monica is this wonderful school in Santa Monica, and all they teach is spiritual psychology. They'd shown up on my radar before that, but I'd never really given any serious thought to attending. And I went back to the office and I called USM, and it was September, and their classes were starting in October. Again, I didn't even know this. I didn't know anything about the program. And I called them up and I said, I need to sign up for your next class. When is it? And they told me. And he says, well, we have 10 places left. I said, now you have 9. Here's my credit card. He says, do you want to know about the program? I said, no. I'm just supposed to be there. And I signed up blind. Now, most people who go to USM know other people who've gone and they've seen the transformation, and that's why they sign up. But it was that moment, and it was my truth. And I said, okay. And I said yes because I so needed to move beyond where I was. And that felt like that was a yes. And I can tell you that story now, and it seems mystical and magical because it's in the context of where it brought me. It was the right decision. It did change my life. It did set me on my path of my destiny, but I didn't know it at the time. So I offer to you that you are having many of those moments too, those magical, mystical moments where you get an aha, where you get a yes, where you make a choice that it doesn't quite seem like you know why you're doing it, and that you have gifts in you too. So it's not just the divinely chosen that are healers. I believe we all are healers in our own way. We all have gifts to share, and you have gifts to share. So if you see someone like me doing this work, and I talk to angels and I channel and I talk to people around the world, and you think, oh, I wish I could do that. You can. You may not do it exactly the way I do it, but you can do it as you. So how do your gifts flow? How do your gifts want to move through you? And you may not even know what that is yet, and that's okay. When that came out of me that I'm a healer, I didn't have any idea what that meant. And it took me years to find out. But it's by putting one foot in front of the other. It's by taking small action steps imbued with intention. It's by allowing this vulnerable, tender opening of our hearts that we discover who we are and why we are here. So I send you blessings of light today. And I want you to let it go that you're only a healer if you have, God appears at the end of your bed or something. You may be having extraordinary moments already, but you may not know it until you're weeks, years, months, whatever ahead on the journey. But you're having them. And if you're watching this video, this may be one of your extraordinary moments that you talk about down the line. I was going through Facebook and this video showed up and this woman said I was a healer and I thought I am too. And it can show up a lot of different ways. So, beloved friend, I send you blessings of light. I send you love. I let you know in this moment that you are a blessing and that your life matters and that your gifts are beautiful and that the world is grateful that you are here. I send you love and I say namaste and I say thank you, and we'll talk again soon. Have a blessed day. Thank you.